What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
So many Kangs, not enough time. Not enough time. What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome back to another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive TV and movie podcast for streaming platforms on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Christian this week. We're recording a bit earlier in the week to break the fourth wall. The musical that I'm working on opens later this week, so just made...
Plug it.
Little Mermaid, go get your tickets, showtixforyou.com. Just search Buena Drama Club. Go get your tickies if you're in the South Jersey area.
Good.
Opens on Wednesday, so it just made more sense to record a little bit earlier. And, you know, when the big show we're covering comes out on a Sunday, and then another show is just readily available, it makes it work. So Dylan will be back next week, and we're going to dive into The Last of Us Episode 6, Poker Face Episode 3, and then we got streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, which will also include Christian and I talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So if you have not seen the movie,
Spoiler alert.
We will give you a spoiler warning when we're getting ready to talk about it, but when we get there, pause if you haven't seen it. Go to your local movie theater, buy a ticket, and my advice, buy a matinee ticket because it's so much more just peaceful to unplug during the afternoon hours.
And it's like $3 cheaper.
Exactly. Get yourself a large popcorn and a large drink, and if your theater does it, you get a free refill there, so then you get some for the ride home, and then come back with your free refills and put the podcast back on.
and just to be clear for everyone, a matinee is before 4 p.m. The movie has the listed time has to be before 4 p.m. for you to get a matinee discount. Okay? We all got this? Good.
Got it? Good. So we're going to dive into all that. But before we get started, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN, Twitter, Instagram. Follow Christian on Twitter at @thewiz_phi. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311. And you can follow me on Instagram as well, KBIZZLE11. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Obviously, this is a podcast. That's where you get this show, is on your favorite podcast app of choice. Shout out to us. We were on the charts last week in the US of A on the TV reviews chart. Let's keep us there a little more consistently, ladies and gents. Go subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help the show continue growing. And, you know, when October rolls around, Christian, because I was totally in the wrong about when New York Comic Con is. It is actually in October. It's not in the summer. I was confusing Broadway Con and Comic Con, as well as San Diego Comic Con. Yeah, Broadway Con. Broadway Con is a wild time.
Strokes chin.
But I was also confusing San Diego Comic Con, which is typically in the summer. New York Comic Con now in October. But we're gonna be there one way or another. So
what's your cosplay goal again?
1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, and Dylan will cosplay as a character from a show or movie that we have watched on the pod. User's choice.
All right, so we have to get to 1,000 to force Dylan to dress like Grogu.
Yes. which you should also subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, because that's how we get Dylan to cosplay as Grogu. Well, it would be pretty funny since he is Salute Our Swolgers. Get Dylan to dress as Swole Groot from the Guardians Holiday Special.
Okay, Kyle, this is what we post on social media. This is what we post on social media.
We got to get there. Gotta get there.
Dylan becomes Groot. Dylan Groot Grogu 2023 ticket.
Yeah, 100%. We're at 388 subscribers on the YouTube channel right now. Let's get to 400. Let's get to 400 by the end of February.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen. Only 12 more of you guys. Come on through. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where you get full video episodes of StreamerSZN and every podcast on our network. You get clips, shorts. I'm going to be doing my Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man 2, and Ant-Man 3 reviews in short form as well. That will be on the YouTube channel, be on Instagram. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where all of our original video content winds up, is that Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. YouTube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. And we're going to dive into The Last of Us Episode 6, and it's brought to you by our amazing merch partners at PHI Apparel Company, who is just the best in the game. They provide unique designs and high-quality clothing for the great fans of Philadelphia and the great fans of Underground Sports Philadelphia, because all of our podcasts have our official merch on their storefront. And with their original designs for all, there's no doubt you guys will stand out in the crowd, whether it's at your favorite sporting event or with your StreamerSZN merch, which we've got some great merch ideas cooking right now for StreamerSZN. Wear it to the movie theater. Wear it when you're watching your favorite shows and movies from home. We want to see you guys in your StreamerSZN merch. I will be ordering my StreamerSZN hoodie within the next couple of days because I just need it. It is one of the most fire hoodies. I show it to everybody. It is one of the coolest pieces of merch we've ever designed. So you guys can use our code UNDERGROUND for 10% off any apparel when you shop online at phiapparel.co. That's phiapparel.co. Use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your merch. And when you get it, tag us on Twitter and Instagram because we want to see you rocking your merch. Christian,
Wow.
The Last of Us, Episode 6. Arguably the most calm episode we've gotten all season, outside of having to relive the just gruesome events that ended Episode 5 right at the top of the episode. I was like, why do we have to relive this? Why?
Why must you do this to me?
This episode titled Kin. Overall, I thought this episode, like, while it was more tame in a sense, it hit home with a lot of the dialogue that was directly from the video game. And I thought they just did such a brilliant job with just the relationship strain between Joel and Ellie in this episode.
And between Joel and Tommy. Like this.
Yes.
This episode is where I think unimpeachably this is where The Last of Us earned its big boy prestige TV pants. Like it had the great pilot. It had the great basically 2-part episode with the last 2 episodes. It had the great episode in a bottle-ish type of thing. And now it has the great dramatical episode in terms of main story, progressing the story, dealing a lot with focusing on relationships and the characters' pasts. And
Yeah.
it did it well, it did it great, and it cooked.
I dabbled in the new Rockstars after show last night after watching it. And they said they pulled a lot of things from the second game as well to incorporate early on.
Which I will say, one of my friends who knows both games basically told me they laid a lot of groundwork for the second season, which will likely be the adaptation of the second game in this episode.
Yeah, like they kind of use their creative liberties, which you and I are both fine with. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you kind of have to tweak from adapting a video game to television to make it tailored to TV, and I think 6 episodes so far, every single modification they've made for television has been perfect.
Yeah, that's the key difference here compared to plenty of other adaptations is the people behind the show make the right choices in terms of what to change, whereas there's been plenty of other adaptations from source material that have just gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, and I think just the flow of this show each week like leaves you wanting more in the best way possible. It's not like the episode was hollow at the end. It's like holy shit, like why is there not more for me to consume right now? Um and I think this episode, even while like we said it was more tame than what last week was and what other episodes have been so far this season, it still was like that ending was like the biggest gut punch, and it's like he's gonna that Joel's gonna be okay,
Yeah.
but it's just like, oh my god, like you're leaving me on these cliffhangers week after week, and it's now I have to wait till next Sunday to see what happens.
As I texted my friend at the end of the episode, we have now reached the next to last paragraph of the Wikipedia plot of the video game.
So there it is. We're moving right along.
And what, we have 3 episodes to go?
3 episodes left, 7, 8, and 9. It's been great. And I mean, your preseason prediction, we will be clipping that once the season comes to an end. And this is going to, I think it's going to, I tweeted it as well last night that The Last of Us is going to go down as one of the greats of all time.
What's our current average now?
Current average, it's got to be high 9s.
Yeah, because I know I was down on the episode a week or two ago and did like an 8.
Yeah, I think we might have gotten like the lowest aggregate score for an episode being like an 8.8 or something like that. Like, still crazy high in terms of our scale so far as a podcast. So I mean, it's gonna go down as a Hall of Fame show,
Top 5 at least.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just another feather in the cap for HBO and the big Sunday, appointment television programs. As we keep pushing along here, but episode 6, titled "Kin," a 58-minute runtime, and the plot goes like this. So here is your spoiler warning if you have not watched.
This is a spoiler warning, folks.
This is a test of the emergency spoiler.
3, a 2, a 1. Go.
3 months after watching Henry, trigger warning, kill himself, which we had to relive again. I was like, gosh, why? Why are we doing this?
Insert Bo Burnham song here. which is one of my favorite Bo Burnham songs ever. It's so grim, but it's hilarious.
I was like, geez, this is not how I was expecting to kick off this episode with just a rehashing of just some brutality here, but here we are. Joel and Ellie make it to Wyoming, and they are told their whereabouts by Marlon and his wife Florence, who are strictly for TV characters. They are not in the game. But again, flawless choice. I love them.
The wife is the funniest thing.
She's so great.
Sure. I mean, you
made them soup? Yeah.
It's cold.
When I was watching the new Rockstars Aftershock, I forget her name, so I apologize, but she said, I just wanted to, cuddle up and lay my head on her bosoms. They were fantastic.
Oh my God.
They were played by Graham Greene and Elaine Miles, and they warned them to avoid the dangers further west. Learning his brother Tommy may be dead, Joel has a panic attack, which, again, another thing that's kind of made for the TV show to help with the plot and everything is like in the game, Joel doesn't really have the panic attack factor. But I think again, like it's playing super well for TV.
Yeah, the river of death.
The River of Death.
The river of death.
So traveling further west, Joel and Ellie are ambushed by a group led by Maria, played by Rutina Wesley, who takes them to a safe community in Jackson, Wyoming. Joel is reunited with Tommy, played by Gabriel Luna, and he and Ellie are provided food, clean clothing, and a house, and Ellie doesn't think she's had a proper meal ever, and it's fucking delicious. I also loved in this episode, like, yes, Ellie is a kid, and, like, she has the mouth of a sailor, but they really, like, made her know that in this episode. I thought it was great.
Ellie's just so much fun. She's just so much fun.
So then Maria cuts Ellie's hair and warns her to be cautious of trusting others, citing Joel's dangerous past. Ellie rebuts, citing Tommy's, and Ellie learns of Joel's daughter, Sarah, who died 20 years prior, and Joel tries to convince Tommy to join him and Ellie to Colorado, and Tommy declines as Maria is pregnant. While having another panic attack, Joel sees a girl reminding him of Sarah. Later on, Joel confides in Tommy about Ellie's immunity and his declining mental state, citing dreams he cannot remember, but recalls feeling loss. Joel asks Tommy to take Ellie to the Fireflies as he fears he cannot keep her safe. He agrees to take her the following morning. Ellie overhears them, and later she acknowledges Joel's fears regarding his daughter's death and admits she will only be more frightened by his absence, which that whole scene was so well done and so well captured, and it's literally word for word from the video game. But like, even in a video game setting, to bring that to life on a TV screen, Pedro Pascal, and I'm blanking on the actor's name who plays Ellie, so forgive me here.
Bella Ramsey.
Yes, they executed that scene flawlessly to a T.
Yeah. This was the episode for what's his name? Pedro Pascal's award cycle reel.
Yeah. And Joel says that she is not his daughter, nor he her father, and states they will part ways. He retires to his bedroom and thinks of Sarah, and in the morning, Joel changes his mind, and as he and Ellie leave Jackson on horseback, they arrive at the University of Eastern Colorado in 5 days, where they find the Fireflies have vacated, and a map points towards St. Mary's Hospital in Salt Lake City, Utah. We also see monkeys, which was pretty alarming. Nice little jump scare in that room.
Ooga booga, ooga booga, ooga booga.
Joel and Ellie attempt to escape after seeing a group of raiders, not the Las Vegas ones. One of them,
or of the Lost Ark.
True, very true. Or Tuscan.
I don't know.
Take your pick of raider.
I don't know what sounds they make. Yeah, exactly.
One of the men attacks Joel, and Joel kills him, but he ends up getting stabbed. And Joel and Ellie escape the pursuing men. Afterward, Joel collapses from the horse, and Ellie begs him to survive, stating she cannot continue without him. And that's where this episode ends. Only one death in this episode. Might be an all-time low, where Joel just snapped the neck of one of the raiders. But I think overall, this episode just like delivered the perfect, and it's not a filler episode whatsoever, but it's like one of those like kind of take a breath a little bit throughout the entire episode, and it builds like the emotional ties to these characters, and then punches you right in the gut again at the end once you see Joel get stabbed with like a baseball bat spike looking thing.
It was the dramatical. I don't want to say the dramatical peak of this film, this show, because there's still 3 episodes left. But I think of in terms of the two finally reaching a mutual understanding and affection of a sort, combined with Joel grappling with his past and his present and his future kind of all at the same time is kind of because from what we know about what happens in the game, the next episode or two, depending on how things pan out, because we know how it's going to end, but I don't know how they're going to do the next part.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much it's that we won't have a true dramatical peak till the actual ending of the show from this point. So I think like this is the highest point in terms of dramatical stuff we'll get in this show in this one episode.
Yeah. I think it was so well done once again. Like they just capture everything you want and then some in these episodes. So again, a job well done to the cast and crew for The Last of Us. Christian, according to Rotten Tomatoes, this episode 6, has an approval rating of 100% based on 9 reviews as of this recording, with an average rating of 8.9 out of 10. Dylan sent us his score. He absolutely loved it. Christian, what is your score for episode 6, Kin, for The Last of Us?
Because of everything I've said and what I've given past episodes, like I refuse to give it a 10 simply on the basis that I gave the first episode a 10 and then I gave episode 3 a score that broke the scale. So I'm sitting in a spot where it's like, where do I go from here? So I'm going to do the score. You're going to end up rounding up to 9.8, 9.75 for the record.
So there's that. Dylan's score was a 9.5 out of 10. And I think I'm like right in the middle of you guys. I'm going to give it a 9.6. I think it was like, in terms of like the raw emotion you get and the tension of emotion that we get in this episode, it's just so well done and like properly captured by the entire like cast that is in this episode. And you get so many different like states of emotion, like you mentioned, like between Joel and Tommy, between Joel and Ellie, and even Ellie, like when she like spazzes on the one kid that she sees when they're eating their meal and everything, who a lot of people are speculating that's a character from the second game as well. Like there's just so much emotional tension in this episode, and in a lot of shows that's like difficult to capture, the way that The Last of Us has captured it week in and week out. So I'm going to give it a 9.6. Dylan gave it a 9.5. Christian gives it a 9.8 with the roundup there, and that gives us a 9.6 and a whole bunch of threes. So a 9.6 is the score for episode 6 of The Last of Us. Going, gone. Let us know your guys' thoughts about episode 6 in the comment section on YouTube. We want to hear your guys' thoughts on every show that we're reviewing and everything. Leave us your recommendations. We didn't say that at the top of the show because Dylan's not here to say the line, but leave us your recommendations in the YouTube comment section on the Apple Podcast reviews, and leave us your thoughts on episode 6 of The Last of Us in the YouTube comment section as well. We will read the good comments for sure every single week if you leave them. But moving on to the next show that Christian and I have been watching together. Cue the Lady Gaga. It is Poker Face episode 3. It's brought to you by our awesome energy drink partner, Dubby Energy, who are the best in the game. They are going to war on big energy and cleaning up everybody's energy intake. They tweeted a screenshot and posted it on Instagram of a big time streamer, but they scribbled out the name so you couldn't see who it was. They threw every single energy drink that they had outside of Dubby in the trash. So that's how you know Dubby's legit. They're declaring war on Big Energy because Dubby was tired of Big Energy favoring profit over quality and making energy drinks loaded with jitters, maltodextrin fillers, artificial colors and dyes, sugars, and quite frankly, other BS. Just take a peek for yourself on any nutrition label of an energy drink that you're probably drinking right now listening to this podcast. They grew upset with these types of energy drinks and decided to wage war on Big Energy by releasing their own energy drinks, which are cleaner and jitter and crash free. I can confirm. Here's to paving the road for a better future for energy drinks where the status quo is no longer profits over quality, where quality actually matters, and where energy drinks don't get a bad rap for being unhealthy and harmful to consume. Dubby is sugar-free, no calories, no maltodextrin fillers, no artificial dyes or colors or anything like that, and there's no crash, there's no jitters. It's literally been keeping me fueled on this binge run of musical to podcast to sports broadcast. Like, I have Dubby, I keep that thing on me. I got it here right now with this awesome monkey shaker that they sent me. And I just got I just got a new flavor here at the studio, the Beach and Peach, the white peach mango cooler. If you are a fan of like the peach ring gummy candies, or if you like peach and mango flavor, you will love it. It is absolutely delicious, especially when it's ice cold. Dubby, a lot of their stuff right now is on pre-order because they have a big retailer who bought up a whole bunch of their product to try to get it into retail stores. But they should be back in stock with a whole bunch of stuff by the end of February, early March. But if you go and order right now with the pre-orders, you'll be first in line to get your product sent to you. The flavors look immaculate. I can't wait to get my hands on the Galaxy Grenade flavor myself because it just sounds delicious. It's watermelon, lime, and guava. They also have a Push and Punch, which is their fruit punch flavor. They've got the Big Energy Tears, which is their blue raspberry flavor. Who doesn't love blue raspberry? They also have their Monkey Madness Hydro Hydration caffeine-free flavor, which is strawberry banana. They've got some awesome merch as well, great shakers on their website. So go gear up with our friends over at Dubby. And when you guys go to checkout at dubby.gg, use code underground and you get 10% off your entire order, any order at dubby.gg. They're keeping the entire company energized, refreshed, and ready to rock and roll to pump out the best content as possible. So go to dubby.gg and use code underground for 10% off your order.
Big Dubbies.
Big Dubbies only. And I think through the end of the week right now, they have their President's Day sale going on. If you use code PRESIDENTS at checkout, you get 33% off.
Ooh.
Poker Face, episode 3. The Lil Rel Howery episode.
The one I had been hyping up to you because I knew knowing you and having watched the first 4 episodes before you saw one that you would pop at this one.
This one was great. Very funny. Just like here's the Poker Face episode 3 spoiler no context
warning.
Spoiler no context first.
Spoiler no context.
Lil Rel Howery, Fascist Dog Barbecue, and
Theater Major.
AV Club.
Theater major working at the AV Club.
So here is your spoiler warning.
I'm Natasha Leone, and this is your spoiler warning.
570 degrees. So episode 3 titled The Stall. In rural Texas, Taffy Boyle, Lil Rel Howery's character, runs a popular barbecue joint with his brother George, played by Larry Brown. However, George informs Taffy he's quitting the business as he's turned vegan and cannot bring himself to cook animals no more. Taffy is not an expert cook and has also asked for a loan from shady organizations in Dallas, probably run by Jerry Jones, which must be paid. And Taffy accepts George's request and drinks beers with him. At night, he hosts a radio talk show and leaves for 16 minutes with a pre-recorded segment about sausage. He goes to George's trailer home, where George is passed out from drugged beer, and Taffy locks the trailer home and uses a hose to suffocate George via a meat smoker. Death by meat smoker. What a concept.
Hey, at least it was good smelling smoke.
That's true. Could be bad smelling smoke. Taffy is attacked by a wild
He kinda
dog
would.
who barks at him, forcing him to hit it on the head to avoid detection. He resumes the talk show just in the nick of time. Wouldn't you believe that? He gets back in the
Will you
nick of
believe
time.
that?
What a coinkydink. A few days before, Charlie, Natasha Lyonne's character, arrives in the area, and she is forced to keep a feisty dog who jumped into her car and will
At a
not
gas
leave.
station.
At a gas station, nonetheless. The dog runs into the barbecue joint, causing damage to the food.
Oh, the
fascist dog, I should say.
which let's quickly explain why he's a fascist dog.
As Natasha Lyonne changes the radio stations, continues to bark and howl, and then we go to our AV club, as we later find out, radio station, aka
With
like
Alex Jones
Alex
voice.
Jones-esque voice, just spitting the propaganda out there for the Patriots, and the dog is just completely calm as can be when that comes on the radio.
And the dog refuses to have her change the station.
Yes. So the dog runs into the barbecue joint, causing damage to the food, prompting Taffy to charge her $300 for some
a little bit of
sausage links. As she does not want to leave any trace, George offers her to pay back the money by working with him. And during the next days, George and Charlie bond over his cooking methods. So she hands him a few DVDs to pass the time. And the next day, George has a change of heart in his profession after watching Okja.
Okja,
Okja.
which I'll quickly explain that film to people, because Kyle, do you even know what that is?
No clue.
So it's a film directed by Academy Award winner Bong Joon-ho. It's on Netflix, and the basic premise is this: this mega corporation has created these genetically modified cow-like creatures and gave like 8 to people across the world to raise. And when I say genetically modified, I mean they grow to be like bigger than a rhinoceros. And so then after they're fully grown, the company decides we're going to take them back. And do you know what they're doing with them? They plan to slaughter them in mass, because, as spoiler alert, you see at the end of the film, they have a giant facility where just this giant slaughterhouse where there's a bunch of more of these things just in pens heading towards slaughter, because you get a bunch of meat by creating genetically modified animals that are these gigantic things and more profit. And it's just, it is, if you know Okja, it's funny because, as Natasha Lyonne said, as Charlie said, I only watched the first half of the movie so far, but it seems like a heartwarming story, which the first half is. And then you go fucking and then you go into the pocket of Monsanto and Big Farming Corporation, which if there's any reason for you to check out that film, aside from it being directed by Bong Joon-ho, is that Jake Gyllenhaal is off his fucking rocker as this weird ass MC celeb dude who's like absolutely deranged and mentally like out there. It's fucking hilarious.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting.
After informing Taffy that he's quitting, he talks with Charlie about his uncertain future, but Charlie is forced to go back to work before George explains his only plan. And at night, Taffy returns from his talk show, informing George's wife, Mandy, played by Danielle McDonald, who had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, that their
Meow.
plan is complete. An employee sees George's trailer home filled with smoke, which provides Taffy with an alibi. The police conclude that George committed suicide. The barbecue joint holds a funeral for George, with Taffy stating that he plans to keep the business going to honor him. And on the road, Charlie finds the dog, which turns out to not be dead, but only badly wounded. She takes the dog to the veterinarian, who states that the dog was attacked with a piece of wood. Charlie notes that the wood scent is the same as the pecan wood that George used for the meat.
Which I would just like to point out, she was putting the wood samples from the dog in her mouth.
Disgusting. She raises her suspicions to Taffy, who rebuffs any of the events and even warns her to leave Texas and never return, indirectly threatening to use a shotgun to scare her. Charlie sneaks into George's trailer home, finding that dental floss was used to lock the door from the outside. She is caught by Mandy, who sits down for a beer with her, and Charlie expresses her suspicions and reveals her ability to detect lies, unaware that Mandy is involved with Taffy in the murder. This prompts Mandy to tell Taffy about this, as well as knowing about the dog attack. Charlie tests the distance that Taffy could have used in going from the radio station to the trailer, suspecting that he pre-recorded the live talk show. She suspects Mandy is involved, as the talk needed a certain question that Mandy provided, in which she deflects by stating it's a common practice for when they want to push a certain type of meat. She warns her to leave, as she does not have any proof. The next day, Charlie confronts Taffy, and she found that George's beer bottle was cleaned and replaced with Ambien, and that Taffy left the station because the recording did not include the sound of a passing train that night. Chugga, chugga, chew, chew. She then has one of Taffy's radio co-workers, Austin, played by Shane Paul McGee, imitate Taffy and call Mandy, telling her he wants to confess. Charlie distracts Taffy long enough for the police and Mandy to arrive, with Mandy having reached authorities first to identify Taffy as the killer. While accompanying a police officer in the cruiser, Austin broadcasts Mandy's confession, leading to her arrest as well, and Charlie leaves the area with while Austin keeps the dog under his care. And that is episode 3 of Poker
Which
Face.
let's quickly talk about Austin before we move on to our overall thoughts. So our AV club friend, who let's just say it as it is black, and all those radio shows you were hearing, it's him putting his theater background to good use, and in his infinite boredom, just doing different voices. So he's the one doing the Alex Jones voice. He's doing this Hispanic voice. He's doing this voice. He's doing that voice. And that revelation is just hilarious.
It's a wonderful medley of voices. He was a theater major and knows how to work the ones and twos. Job well done, Austin. Job well done.
Job well done.
I thought this episode was great. It was
Yeah.
good. It was good comedy. It was just good. Kind of
Extremely
a
well
standalone
cast.
almost. Yes, extremely well cast. Kind of a standalone in a sense.
Well,
as far as I know, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, every episode's kind of a standalone, given that it's Columbo, but with a plot running in the background. So, for example, in the conversation with the trucker in the first episode, the trucker was like, "Stop using the debit card because they can keep track of you." So what does she do? She doesn't use the debit card. So it's the little things building on top of each other that keep the linear nature to the show while also keeping its hard episodic core.
Yeah, and I mean, who doesn't love Lowell Howery, man?
He's so hilarious.
He's the best.
He's so hilarious.
And I just thought it was a perfect episode 3 of a season. Like, just a job well done. It was a good plot. and like just the quirky wittiness of Natasha Lyonne continues to shine.
Yep.
So looking here, The Stall received positive reviews, extremely positive reviews, I should say. Saloni Gajar of the AV Club gave the episode an A grade and wrote, Poker Face is a shining example of a show built around its star. It's a love letter to Lyonne, who fits into Charlie's shoes like a pro. Her trademark wit, deadpan one-liner deliveries, and surprising depth transform Poker Face into more than a delectable Ryan Johnson Mystery of the Week drama. Here, Charlie doles out sarcastic, rapid-fire remarks to an audience of one, a pooch she's trying to get rid of. Lyonne is essentially making the most of her screen time, dialing up the comedy as the show increases its complex suspense in The Stall.
Yep.
Pretty much encapsulates our feelings to a T.
Yep.
So, Christian, your score for Poker Face Episode 3 is going to be...
9.
Gets a 9 there. I'm going to give it a 9.2, which some quick math there makes it 9.1. Easy.
Quick maths.
Quick math. We love some quick math for the people at home, which Poker Face Episode 3 in the books brings us to everybody's favorite segment. It is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes with an Ant-Man discussion, brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. It's the official beer of Underground Sports Philadelphia, and it's Dylan's beverage of choice when he's talking about his favorite news and notes segments across the streaming platform Multiverse. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the all-new and improved Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. If you're in eastern Pennsylvania, you can check out your local Home Goods, who now carries Kenwood Beer, or go to your local liquor store, kenwoodbeer.com. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. Christian, should we start off with the Ant-Man banter, the anter, or do we dive into the news and notes of the week?
Let's do the news and notes first and wrap up with Ant-Man.
We love to see it. So there's part 1 of your Ant-Man spoiler warning. But, Christian, I'm sure you'll love this because it involves a reboot. But I'm low-key kind of intrigued and excited, in a sense. Brian Taylor says his new Hellboy reboot will be a rated R folk horror film that will faithfully adapt the Crooked Man run. The fact that it's rated R has me intrigued.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I'm a fan of reboots when it comes to like taking well-known source material of previously seen characters or previously seen movies that are their own thing and you adapt outward from that. So, for example, Hellboy, which had Guillermo del Toro make it famous and then had other people involved, give it another try. Sure. Yeah, like I'm willing to see what they do here and give it some of the benefit of the doubt.
100%. Did you see Marcel the Shell on the red carpet at the BAFTAs?
I did not see that, but I did see them. But I did see Marcel and Pinocchio, doing a variety actors on actors video.
I like that. I don't know how you're going to feel about this one.
Oh,
but joining the top 10 highest grossing films of 2022 domestically, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I don't mind that.
I'm like shocked that movie did so well.
Also, it's kind of a word of mouth thing where at first it like didn't have that much traction, but it slowly gained legs. Like hell, even working at the theater today on President's Day, people were bringing their young kids, and then you had middle schoolers coming to see it, and it's like, okay, yeah, this film officially has some semblance of legs to it, and plus, it's kind of mature. It's kind of somewhat mature given how the villain's death and everything. It's it's not your kids' Puss in Boots film.
True. Which is good. Like, that type of stuff should be targeted to our audience who grew up with Shrek.
And when I saw her face,
uh, I do have a list here of things leaving Netflix at the end of February and new arrivals for Netflix for February, even though we're about, halfway through, more than halfway through the month.
yeah, I was
Math is hard.
I was gonna say we only got 8 days left, Chief.
Scream 4 is leaving Netflix at the end of the month.
Don't care.
Pulling up if this one's to work for me. I guess it's not going to work for me. Oh well. Moving on to the next bit here. Little preview here. Ant-Man and the Wasp already over 100 million domestically.
Not surprising because it's MCU film. Shrug.
Henry Golding, Naomi Rapace, Sam Neill, and Daniela Melchior will star in Assassin Club for Paramount. The action thriller follows an assassin who is given a contract to kill 7 people, only to discover the targets are assassins who have been hired to kill him.
So we're just redoing a different. We're just doing a different version of Bullet Train.
Effectively.
which, listen, I love Henry Golding. I'm willing to be optimistic about this, but I need to see a trailer to say that I care about it.
So in this project hits me hard because I always said when it was going to come out, I wanted to audition for this, but they are bringing back the original voice actor.
Sad.
So sad boy hours. But Zach Galifianakis will star as Pleakley in the Disney Plus live-action Lilo and Stitch remake.
Hold on, I have to release some rage. Stop making fucking live-action remakes of the old animated Disney films we fucking love. I'm sorry, but The Little Mermaid looks like shit. It looks like shit. I don't care if Daveed Diggs is Sebastian. Look at that underwater footage. Compare it to Avatar, which, by the way, it's the same fucking studio. Disney owns the rights, idiots. How does it look so fucking bad?
I just always wanted to play Stitch.
Oh.
And they took it away from me. Disney Plus doing some cancellations of some of their sports shows. Big Shot and the Mighty Ducks Game Changers have been canceled after 2 seasons each.
I told you this a few months ago, but like those shows don't need to exist.
I watched season 1 of Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, but you
to see what it was going to be like.
Yeah, but that show only needs 1 season.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it got a season 2.
And then Big Shot was just a show that didn't need to exist. They are starting to do the HBO Max thing, where it's pretty much like, yeah, we have all this stuff that no one knows exists, so we don't need to.
And
continue.
They push that hard on the front page of Disney Plus too.
Oh, yeah.
Your eyeballs were glued to Uncle Jesse.
Like, I didn't care, and I think that shows.
In talks to star in Eli Roth's slasher film Thanksgiving, none other than Patrick McDreamy Dempsey.
I mean, it's an Eli Roth film, so we know it's gonna be fucked up beyond belief. So yeah. Oh, crap. When's it showing? Hold on, I have to check one thing.
Well, I'm going to just inject more rage into your body here,
Oh dear.
because we are getting Disney's The Haunted Mansion, starring. I mean, to be fair, this cast is fucking absurd.
Yes, it is.
Owen Wilson, Rosario Dawson, Lakeith Stanfield, Winona Ryder, and Jared Leto will now release in theaters on July 28th.
Yep.
That cast is absurd.
It's called the Disney Paycheck.
Valid, but still, it's the Haunted Mansion.
And it's a Disney Paycheck.
That is insane.
Okay, so now I remember what I wanted to bring up. It technically showed in theaters for like a Fathom Events thing last week. You do know what Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what that is, so Christopher Robin and the Winnie the Pooh stuff entered the public domain a year or two ago, which means anyone can make anything using it. So what people have done is they took Winnie the Pooh and made him a serial killer.
And all of his friends.
Yes. And it dropped in its special showings.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
But Kyle, this is the type of filmmaking we need to appreciate. It was made for less than $100,000, and it's made $2.7 million.
I have no interest.
I have no interest in seeing it either. I just find it fascinating, and it's gonna pop up somewhere online. So I thought I should just bring it up.
It looks absolutely mortifying.
No shit.
It
is nightmare fuel incarnate.
It is the textbook definition of nightmare fuel.
Guys, just Google Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and just look at the images and tell me you're not freaked the fuck out.
I'm going to advise you all to do the complete opposite and not look at the images because you will not sleep for days.
Do it, because I'm a bad influence. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Damien Chazelle's Babylon releases on Paramount Plus Tuesday. So by the time you guys are listening to this, that'll be on Paramount Plus.
Join me on it, Kyle. Watch Babylon. We must talk. Join me on Become the Babylon Hive. Join us. Join us. Join us.
I wanted to get your thoughts. I'm considerably intrigued about the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Is it something I'm going to go to the theater for? Probably not.
Yeah, so here's the thing with this. Like, my boss saw an extended view of it, and I was like, it seems interesting. Whereas I'm standing here, I'm like, this cast is way too overqualified. This cast is way too fucking overqualified. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Renee Jean Page, Hugh Grant doing a Dungeons and Dragons movie. And I'm just like, this isn't going to be good. It could be fun good, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Just like we were excited for Big Daddy Pedro Pascal to be hosting SNL, we're getting another big-time host on SNL. March 11th, along with musical guest, the 1975, hosting SNL on March 11th, the one and only Jenna Ortega.
Woohoo!
Very excited for that.
If I remember correctly, double check the date. Crap, that's not the search I wanted. Here we go. It is the day before the Oscars. So, not So sometime in the next 2 weeks, Kyle, we're gonna have to devote some streamer season time to the Oscars.
Yeah.
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 Is that the same day as Selection Sunday?
Oh fuck. Quick check.
we might be having 2 live streams going on at once on the network.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. No. Selection Sunday is gonna be done before the Oscars, right? Oscars start at like 8.
True.
But fuck.
That was such a genuine and wholesome reaction by you.
Clip it and post it, Kyle. Clip it. Clip
Oh,
and
that was
post. Clip
incredible.
and post. All right, got it. Good.
M. Night Shyamalan has signed a multi-year first-look deal to direct films for Warner Brothers. His first film for the studio will
Direct and
release...
produce.
I only have direct here, but
Well, it's
corrected.
direct and produce, and one of those films under that deal, outside of his movies, the first movie of his daughter. Which
and what I have here, according to Deadline, via discussing film, his first film for the studio will release on August 2nd, 2024 in theaters, titled Trap. It's a trap. Shout out to M. Night. Big Sixers guy.
which in the wake of Knock at the Cabin, I just want to say this. Knock at the Cabin isn't anything exceptional, but it's immensely solid. Listen, we can use more just immensely solid films.
Totally.
Just like I will take more well-crafted 6 out of 10s than a bunch of this than a bunch of the bad 4 out of 10 big blockbustery stuff. Like, I will happily take more $20 to $40 million budget 6 and 7 out of 10 films than dropping these big. I'm talking to you mainly Netflix $200 million gray man films where you're filming so much shit in front of a green screen when you're making
You have such a
spy
personal
film.
vendetta against the Gray Man. It's so great.
They film so much shit on a green screen. Where the fuck did $200 million go? Shoot it in Singapore. Shoot it in Europe. Shoot it on an actual fucking island. Was just money laundering?
If you guys want to trigger Christian, just
go?
tweet at the Wiz_PHI. Just tweet Gray Man.
That movie could have been fucking good, but where the fuck did the budget go? Explain that to me, Kyle. You're filming in Europe and you green screen like 80% of it. What the fuck?
No lo
What
sé.
the fuck?
And
And the best part is, and I want to check this.
the best part is
Russo
we're getting a
brothers.
Gray Man cinematic universe.
Shrug. But they are now directing another movie coming out in 2024. For is it for Netflix? I don't know. Yeah. It's set to release on January 3rd, 2024, called The Electric State.
Boogie woogie woogie.
And its premise is a girl is sent a robot by her missing brother, and with it, she sets out to find him. And the cast of this includes, and this is where I'm immediately getting concerned that this is more Netflix bullshit. Millie Bobby Brown, again, in another Netflix movie. Chris Pratt, Ki Huy Quan, Stanley Tucci, Jason Alexander, Woody Norman, and the voices of Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Giancarlo Esposito, Anthony Mackie, and Billy Bob Thornton. There are too many good names in this movie for it to be good. I am sorry. I'm sorry, Netflix, but you're giving these guys a fuck ton of money, and I don't fucking trust them. I don't fucking trust them one bit.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Little
And the guys who wrote the guys who wrote the script are the same guys who have written all who have basically spent the last I don't know, about 12 years at this point writing Marvel scripts, including Thor, Captain America, the first Avenger, Thor: The Dark World, the second two Captain America films, Guardians of the Galaxy, and basically every Anthony and Joe Russo film, including The Gray Man. They wrote Pain and Gain, which is the Rock Mark Wahlberg. I think that has Anthony Mackie in it. I don't remember who the third wheel in it is. Bodybuilder True Life criminal thing directed by Michael Bay. So, and before that, they wrote the Chronicles of Narnia films. And I was like, I don't trust the no. Like you are getting a massive budget, and the most notable things you've written is Marvel movies. I'm immediately concerned.
outside of Thor: The Dark World, most of those Marvel movies you listed are pretty solid, if not like in the top tier.
To which I counter, how much of that did they write versus were they told we have to have these moments in the film? You have to work around that.
Fair.
So, Russo brothers.
On a more serious and unfortunate
Yes.
note, Bruce Willis has been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. I
Which-
want to send the best to Bruce Willis's family, 110%.
which we knew he had some sort of brain thing, but we didn't know exactly what it was. So, everyone, let us let us all send out a yippee motherfucker to you, Bruce.
Yeah. Best wishes to Bruce and his entire family, keeping you guys in our thoughts and positive vibes and everything. Speaking of Marvel, Marvel will be gearing up the casting process for the Fantastic Four this month. The focus will reportedly be casting Sue Storm first and building out the rest of the team after she is cast.
To which I say this: we've known about this movie for how long, and you still haven't cast this bullshit?
To which I'll give a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
The director did step down initially.
Yes,
but
he-
I'm kind of happy with who is directing it now.
yeah, I would rather have right, because it's Daniel Cretton, right?
No, he is working on
Kang Dynasty.
Kang Dynasty.
I don't.
It's Matt Shackman who worked on WandaVision. Is doing fantastic.
Sure, like I was in the middle on WandaVision for the most part. I like the second half of the season more than the first half, but
Fair.
either way.
But I mean, you're meaning to tell me that Krasinski's not gonna be Mr. Fantastic?
Yes, I'm telling you, Chris is not going to be fantastic.
We'll see. Next on the list here, we got a first look at speaking of WandaVision, Elizabeth Olsen as Candy Montgomery in Love and Death,
Which I know which wasn't this on your top 10?
I think so. One of her projects was on my top 10. I forget if it was this one or another one that she has coming out. But this one premieres on April 27th on HBO Max.
And I will never let you live down the fact you had Velma on your top 10.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's Spin Zone. Velma might get a season 2.
No, it's it's already been said it's getting a season 2. I'm like, what the fuck?
So there it is, Spin Zone. I am pulling up our list here, just to see if this was the actual show that I had. What is this? Love and Death. Yeah, Love and Death was on my list.
Where was it ranked?
10, 7th. So we'll see if. I mean, the still shots look great. I mean, Elizabeth Olsen always looks great.
See, all you have to tell me is that there's Jesse Plemons, there's Elizabeth Olsen, and it's an HBO show, and I go, all right, I'll give it a try.
We also got a trailer for that, which we'll be tweeting out from
Yeah.
our Twitter machine. You brought this up in the group chat, March 31st on Apple TV Plus. We've got a Tetris movie.
Which it again strange because we got Taron Egerton doing a business political thriller.
Sure.
Like I don't know what genre this falls under, but I mean
Let's see if there's any.
It looks interesting.
Let's see if there's anything listed about it in terms of genre.
But I'm going to tell you guys this now, because we technically already touched on it. Give Babylon a try. Give Babylon a try. It's coming to Paramount. This is literally a more deranged version of Wolf of Wall Street. Like Wolf of Wall Street is relatively sanitary in terms of some of the stuff it does. When Babylon goes hard, it is deranged.
So the about section on this Tetris movie is described as a biographical drama film.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
It's going to have its world premiere at South by Southwest Film Festival on March 15th, and then March 31st is its release date on Apple TV.
Wait, hold on. I'm checking something. Aren't we also getting White House Plumbers next month too?
I believe so.
We don't know the date, but we're getting White House Plumbers also.
Do we not have a date for that yet?
I think all I know is March 2023, which I know that was on your list, Kyle.
Yes, it was. Yeah, just March 2023. It's only gonna be 5 episodes.
Good.
So that'll be easy to bang out.
Yeah.
We brought this up in the group chat as well. Kind of, it's a good and bad, I would say. And I'll get into why, but this comes from the Hollywood Reporter. Secret Invasion and Loki Season 2 are the only definite Marvel shows to release in 2023. Shows including Echo, which I didn't expect in 2023, to be quite honest, and Ironheart are unlikely to arrive in 2023 as Marvel aims to spread out its content and work more in post-production. Here's why I think it's a good thing. We're going to get better quality shows.
Ding, 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 ding.
Here's why it's a bad thing selfishly. There's less Marvel for us to capitalize on, and 2, I just enjoy having like one show per like season, if you will, and by season I mean like winter, spring, summer, fall.
Yeah. I mean,
we've been waiting. We still don't know when Secret Invasion's coming out.
Sure, but I would just say this, that streaming, it's been clear that it's not profitable. And with Bob Iger coming back, he openly said that while he believes in streaming, he does not think it's profitable. So the first thing that will catch the brunt of the load is this Marvel stuff, because Marvel's like, here's all these shows, and it's like, Iron War's already turned into a movie.
Which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, yes, sure, fine, yeah, good.
Give me more Big Daddy Cheadle.
And maybe some more Just Hammer again, who knows?
Yes.
But it's like, we don't need all these shows, guys. Like Daredevil, sure. Loki, sure. I don't know why we need. I don't know why we need an Agatha show. I mean, we're getting it. It's
From
cast as
what I've
bonkers.
from what I've gathered for that, to be quite honest, it's basically WandaVision season 2, just Agatha's perspective, because Agatha's going to end
Yeah.
up being a big player in the MCU as a whole.
Yes, but to which I say, why did we need it? We didn't need it. It's Disney trying to capitalize on things.
I think that show, I can understand for lack of a better term, the need for it to be included. There are some shows that I'm like, all right, this could have been a subplot of a movie.
Echo, probably.
Echo, probably, but I'm also intrigued by it because I like the actor, and I think again, Echo, I think is more so Hawkeye season 2.
All I'll say is this: while we know like some of Marvel's Phase 6 plans, something tells me that we're stretching some of this shit out from Phase 5 into Phase 6 on the back end.
100%. Because Phase 6, all we really have confirmed is the 2 Avengers movies.
And don't we have F4?
Yeah, Fantastic Four is
Phase
6 as well.
All we have confirmed in Phase 5 is just like, Phase 6 is just everything big, and it's like, there's a lot of empty space here.
Yeah, and I mean, I would also say, because we also don't know like how canon / non-canon it's going to be. I'm still pretty convinced X-Men 97 is coming out in the fall the way that it was intended to.
Well, see, I consider X-Men 97 and What If separate from the WandaVisions and all that, so I could easily see those coming out this year.
Yeah.
And
I think
and
What
it's
If
just,
has more tie-ins to the actual MCU as well. I think X-Men 97 is just like the soft, like, here's the X-Men again.
I just think all of the main MCU canon stuff is more than likely going to be delayed compared to the what ifs and all that non-direct storyline stuff.
Yeah. Because I mean, outside of Loki and Secret Invasion, like the other shows that we know of are Coven of Chaos, Ironheart, Echo, Daredevil, which we're not getting Daredevil until 2024 because they're filming that for an entire year. And I forget if there was anything else like full-blown confirmed TV-wise, but I mean, as a whole, I think one thing that Disney Plus learned as well, and I think Dylan and I talked about this too, like what they learned from last year is they don't want to overlap Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think that was a big issue in 2022 where certain shows, it was like, oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi's out, and then Miss Marvel lost a ton of traction and a ton of like opportunity to be at the forefront as like that week-to-week show. And then on the opposite front, it was like, oh, She-Hulk's here, and then Andor lost a lot of early traction from people because it was like, oh, new Marvel show. So I think that's one thing that they're trying to do, and that's also why I think Secret Invasion's been like kept under wraps of when it's coming out, because I can guarantee this right now for you guys, we're not getting Secret Invasion until The Mandalorian is over.
Yeah, it's Disney's very much going with the HBO approach, where it's like we're going one big show at a time. Because if we look at what HBO has done this year, it's been White Lotus, right into The Last of Us. Now that's going to be right into Succession, and then we don't know what's filling the spot after Succession.
And even right before White Lotus was House of the Dragon.
Yeah, so like I would say that, and I've talked about this forever, but HBO Max, as much as we give it shit for cutting stuff and everything, knows what they're doing, and they're the most sound streaming service. Whereas, I'll say this again, Netflix. Listen, Netflix. If you were smart, like these other guys, you don't drop an entire season of Drive to Survive or Full Swing all in one chunk, because after it just drops, you like it. If that was like Hard Knocks, and it's like a new one every week, people are coming back and staying around for so long.
Which
But
I just hopped on Get in the Hole before we started recording this, and they were talking about Full Swing. Um, very positive reviews from
yeah,
the Get in the Hole boys.
I've only seen the first episode, but it's good, guys. It's good. And this is kind of just, again, Netflix kind of fumbling the bag, like they've done with Ozark and Stranger Things, where it's like you could do like one episode every week for X amount of weeks, and be living in the living in the pop cultural zeitgeist for an entire year by going a week at a time. But they just don't want to do that, and they lose out on a bunch of money because of it, because people will just get the service and then cancel it when their shows are done, when they've just binged entire things.
We will have in the next couple of weeks a crossover event of the century of StreamerSZN and Get in the Hole for Full Swing
At some
for
point.
people. So stay tuned for that. But circling back to the Marvel stuff too, and just the two shows, like I also think that 2023 is a much bigger movie year for Marvel in terms of the titles coming out for them. That they have, rolling out throughout all of 2023 with
I mean, it's 3 titles.
Quantumania, which is your kickoff to Phase 5, Guardians Volume 3, which is like your swan song for this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy and James Gunn's final project for at least the next 4 years. And then the Marvels in November. I think if you fill the gaps between those movies, so like an April Secret Invasion drop, and then a July, August, September Loki drop,
Yeah.
you're cooking with gas, I think, because then you fill like the gaps between the movies properly, and you're not like overloaded with multiple show plot lines and everything before the next movie comes out. And I think last year too with that was just a product of like everyone getting back on track with movies in the theaters.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be all right. Now on Netflix, The Woman King. I've heard very good things. I watched the trailer for it. It looks really, really cool.
I've heard exclusively good things about it as well. And I never got the chance to see it in theaters, but something I will check out soon. Viola Davis did have some Oscar buzz for it, but ultimately, even though she was deserving of it, Ana de Armas and Blonde, which I don't want to pack that movie because no, just no. Like Ana de Armas, yes. The movie Blonde, absolutely not. But yep, it's very much from what I've heard, feels like a movie that would be nominated for an Oscar like 30 years ago, which isn't a bad thing by any means. So yeah.
And joining the 2 million watched club, which oddly enough is the only Jordan Peele movie that I haven't seen. The 2 million watch club on Letterboxd, which you guys can follow us on Letterboxd as well. Get Out has now joined 2 million watch club on Letterboxd.
You haven't seen Get Out.
I've seen
Us and Nope.
Nope and Us.
What were your thoughts on Nope?
I love Nope.
Okay, because we were all talking about that on the pod, but we still have to get Dylan to watch it.
Yeah, because Dylan doesn't have Peacock, so I have
Yeah.
to bring him to my humble abode.
Um,
But yeah, for some reason I just never saw Get Out. Us was
listen,
like a movie date with someone I was seeing when it came out at the time,
that
and
that
then
that seems like an interesting date.
I mean the movie was fucking awesome. And then I love Nope. Nope was probably like best movie I saw last year. Granted, I didn't like. I'm not like Christian for the people at home, where like I get the opportunity to watch as many movies as Christian does, but I love Nope.
Now, Kyle, I will accept that on the grounds that you haven't seen everything everywhere all at once.
Correct.
Which let's say this now. If everything everywhere all at once wins Best Picture, you have to
We'll
watch it,
watch
and
it.
we're
Yeah,
talking about it on this pod.
yeah. I just have to
Okay.
find a means to watch it. I just haven't.
I mean, I have a DVD if it comes to that, but
Movie night with the boys.
it's also. Let me quickly check this. It may, in fact, well, first of all, it's showing in theaters right now in the area once or twice a day. Once there or so because it's nominated for Oscars. But if I check this, everything unlucky. So it's technically on Paramount Plus, but it's behind the Showtime wall.
Mm,
So annoying, but there's ways to find it.
true.
Worst comes to worst, I end up blending you my Google login or something because I have a digital copy.
And last bit here. This is your Quantumania spoiler warning.
This is a spoiler warning.
3,
Scott Lang.
2,
1. Blueface.
Quantumania. Christian and I have differing opinions. We sent in the group chat. I said I loved it, and he asked if we watched the same movie. We will have shirts dropping for Quantumania at phiapparel.co.
Ants. That's all we'll say. Ants.
That's your teaser. Me coming from the background of being a comic book nerd, I enjoyed this movie a lot from especially the fact of like where this movie is taking us. And that's where I view a lot of the Marvel projects is like, okay, I like really enjoyed this movie. I think it's better than Thor Love and Thunder for the people out there. We haven't reviewed Thor Love and Thunder yet because Dylan still hasn't watched it. But me personally, like, I think it was way better than Thor Love and Thunder. Was not better than Wakanda Forever in my book, but I think like Quantumania for what it was and like where it's going to take us on our little multiversal ship did a really solid job of like delivering in terms of like the MCU world building as we head into phase 5. So that's where my first point is. Second point, I don't know how you feel about it, but I personally love the recasting of Cassie. I think it was pretty solid. I think she's
I'm just
good.
unbelievably neutral on it.
Because I think before, no offense to old Cassie, it was like there was no substance there. We had 6-year-old Cassie, and then we had Cassie who like missed out on 5 years of her dad's life, and there was no substance with that one. So, and then the big elephant in the room or the big face man in the room. I personally
Big nose man.
personally terrified of how MODOK was going to be captured in this movie after just seeing the still shot and everybody going bonkos on the internet about it and being Spy Kids vibes.
Yeah. See George Lopez and Spy Kids.
Was that Spy Kids or was it Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
No, yeah, Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
But I think the way that MODOK is portrayed and is kind of like the butt of the joke and he gets made fun of for looking the way that he does, and they show like how MODOK was assembled as well, which I wasn't sure if they were going to do that. Especially since we knew that they kind of like retconned from what the comics MODOK is to it being Darren Cross, who was Yellow Jacket in the first Ant-Man movie. I liked the way that we got to that. I thought that was, a solid like transition of like the retconning there of who the character is. And like MODOK is that like humor punching bag, and that's exactly what he was in this movie. So I was like, okay, they didn't like truly fumble the bag with MODOK. Um, Now, are there aspects of the movie that I wish we got more of? Like, sure, but I also think that like the 2 hours we got of Thor: Love and Thunder versus the 2 hours and 5 minutes we got of Quantumania were like two different types of 2 hours.
Okay, so my thoughts on this film are it's a fucking mess. like 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 there are parts I appreciate about this film, but so much of it feels a little half baked because you have three different types of stories going on, and I was talking about this with Kyle. You have the mother daughter storyline, be be between Michelle Pfeiffer and Evangeline Lilly. You have the Scott and Cassie story, and then you have here's Kang, and here's why he matters. Kang really only gets two or three scenes, gets like two scenes to cook. One is where he first meets Sky and Cassie, which is he's legitimately great in that scene, and that scene is pure justification for all of us majors believers of why. Yeah, this guy is the dude. Like, and anyone who has seen Jonathan Majors knows. Oh, like you can't take you can't take your eyes off this dude. He is one of the most attention grabbing guys in film right now. Like he's got some of the Denzel energy where it's like you don't want to take your eyes off him. The camera doesn't want to leave him, and it's like I I almost don't want the mother daughter storyline in this movie because while yes it matters, and yes this is an Ant-Man and the Wasp film, it should just been Ant-Man Quantumania, and you just have the and you mainly just focus on Ant-Man and Cassie and then Kang because you don't get Kang till an hour into a little over a 2 hour film. For the guy who's about to be your big bad for the next 3 years,
If not
you
more.
if 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 not more, you give him scraps. You basically give him 3 or 4 scenes in the back half of the film to be like, yes, this is why I matter. No, stop. Like this is the same issue I had with Thor: Love and Thunder. You have a great villain performance by Christian Bale, and you just don't give them enough. They aren't
Although,
give.
devil's advocate here, at least we know we're getting more of Jonathan
Yeah,
Majors over the next four to
yes,
five
but
years.
like Marvel has like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is a great example. They fucking let Namor cook. They let Namor cook. It was great, but it's a movie that's sandwiched by two films, which is like they just underuse the villain. Like we like Bale was the best part of Love and Thunder by a mile and a half.
Hundred
By a
percent.
mile and a half. And while while I think Quantumania is the more interesting movie, Love and Thunder just feels more complete in terms of the sense of Thor and Jane's storyline come Thor and Jane's storyline complete. Gore Gore's Gore's storyline complete, and completely rounded off from its cold open scene to his death. Like it's it's much neater in terms of choosing storylines and creating a somewhat satisfying and sound route throughout. I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying it it didn't try and do too much in terms of the storylines it was trying to do.
I just think my biggest gripe with Thor: Love and Thunder versus Quantumania, because that's the one comparison I've seen online, is like those two movies being compared. And I don't even want to get into like the Eternals comparison because there's no need to compare them.
You can't compare any movie to
No,
any MCU movie to it because it's such in its own space.
yeah. Um, the biggest gripe for Thor: Love and Thunder that I have, where I appreciate Quantumania a bit more, is the fact that your villain is Gore the God Butcher, and you got to see one god get butchered in an entire movie, where allegedly a 25 to 30-minute god butchering montage got cut from the film.
Yeah,
That
but
just leaves me like so empty for a villain of the stature that is Gore the God Butcher, where with Kang, yes, it was the hello,
underwhelming.
welcome to the MCU type situation. I still think the performance you got from Jonathan Majors as Kang, and knowing what's to come as well in so many different variations. Plus, for the people out there who are just absolute buffoons, including Wikipedia.com, this Kang variant is not fucking dead. He's in one of those probability hexes, just like Scott was in this film when he was a whole bunch of Ant-Man, and then there was the Baskin Robbins version of him. That Kang's not dead because, in my opinion, that's Kang. Like, that's the one who in Loki gets talked about by He Who Remains, who started the multiversal war. That's why he got banished. He's got to come back for the multiversal war to go down again. He will be back. So don't get your britches all twisted thinking that Kang is dead. He's still alive because, again, if we know anything about Star Wars or Marvel or any superhero type of thing,
No one did. No one
he
truly
didn't
did.
die on screen. You didn't see the
Yeah.
dead body on screen. He ain't dead.
Like it's like my problem with Quantumania is leave that movie. The best parts for me were Jonathan Majors and Michael Douglas. I it, I and I didn't care about Scott because under Scott's thing was undercooked. I didn't care about Michelle Pfeiffer because that that thing was undercooked. Even with Kang, like Kang Kang could have used like when uh when when Michelle Pfeiffer touches touches his touches his chair thing, we kind of get that pseudo quick thing of what she sees in his head. I want more of that. I want more of that. Like if you give us more of that, show us more of what he had done. That automatically is establishes a basis for King being, oh, no, you we need to stay away from you, you are dangerous. Instead we get what, 10 seconds of a blue and white filtered thing where you can't totally get a sense of what exactly happened there, but you know what's implied. Like it, I I wanted this film to be so much better. I recognize that like it's fine, but the big issue is I've been going back and watching Phase 1 and Phase 2 because I never really watched any of those films, and comparing it to Ant-Man and Love and Thunder, I'm like these Phase 1 and Phase 2 films are so much better than what we're getting right now. I'm like, I, like, I can't reasonably justify saying these films now are outside of like Black Panther 2 that they are good when I'm comparing to what I'm watching from Phase 1 and Phase 2. I'm like, like this is solid good stuff. And
Yeah, because I mean, looking at Phase 4, the movies we got, I would say there's
two.
I'd say
There's two
three and
good
a
ones.
half. 3.5.
3.5 good movies?
Yeah.
Name them.
I think Wakanda Forever. I think Spider-Man No Way Home. I personally really enjoyed Multiverse Madness. And I was a big fan of Shang-Chi.
See, I'll say 3, but it's like half Shang-Chi, half Doctor Strange, because I feel like, and my biggest gripe with Doctor Strange, and this is partially because of the director change and Sam Raimi coming in. If they just let Raimi go full Raimi, that film could have been fucking amazing. And then when it comes to Shang-Chi, it's just like, you had a pretty good film for 2 acts, and then you just fucking sink the ship in the 3rd act when you have all this cool hand-to-hand fight stuff, and then you just go, dragons. I go, no. Like, you 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 like why couldn't you just be more like, oh, I'm going to do the Civil War Cap versus Iron Man close quarter fight thing, and so we're like, dragon fight. I'm like, no, like you were departing from what this movie did best and why we like it for the first 2/3 to then go to this. And then like, I no No Way Home is my biggest kind of MCU slash Sony thing where I'm like, I I don't want to even call this an MCU film simply because it's a movie that only works because we have such a love and appreciation for all of the Toby and Andrew Garfield films that that film legitimately doesn't exist without those films. So I kind of handicap it in that sense where I'm like, this movie legitimately doesn't function as well if you don't know and care about those films.
But I also think with that movie too, not to deter too much from Ant-Man more, but
Yeah.
I think with No Way Home, like there's another multiverse where that movie falls flat on its face because those actors don't mesh well with the current stuff, and there's a universe where it doesn't work.
Yeah,
And I think
but
for them to pull off getting everybody back the way that they did and it working the way that it did, like, I think if you would have asked us in 2017 if that was possible, I think 90% of us say there's no fucking way.
I'll say it around to round that out is Tom Holland was the 3rd best Spider-Man in that film. He like I didn't enjoy him nearly as much as I enjoyed the other two in that film.
I think he was probably my second. Because Toby didn't really do, like, too much. Toby coming back was just like, holy shit, like,
Yeah,
Toby Maguire, Spider-Man is back.
Garfield very
Andrew
much
Garfield
stole
was
the
like
show.
the reclamation, like, we love Andrew Garfield again.
Yeah,
Which some of us never stopped.
Yeah. Either way, let's get back on track here.
Ant-Man, though, the big takeaway too from this is the 2 post-credit scenes.
Council.
You get the Council of Kangs. You get Faour Ramatat, who was teased in Moon Knight on the back of the jacket.
Immortus.
We get Immortus, and we get a futuristic Kang. I don't know if it's Iron Lad or if it's
Young Immortus?
Kang Prime or...
See, the 2 main theories I've heard are Iron Lad or Young Immortus.
I don't think we would have gotten introduced to Iron Lad just yet because Iron Lad's going to be younger too.
Yeah, but what the fuck is he wearing?
My guess is that it's Kang Prime right now, or just like a 4 MCU Kang, because there's no real, and we won't know until Quantumania comes out on Disney Plus and we get subtitles.
Yeah,
but those 3 are obviously big time power players in the Kang Dynasty. I thought that dialogue scene was great between the 3 of them, and then we enter the arena of every fucking Kang under the sun. There's the Crimson Centurion who pops up, which is the Kang that has the whole red outfit that you see. There's just every Kang you can think of, and it's the biggest tease of what is to come since Thanos turning around and smirking at the end of the first Avengers film, I think it was, or at the end of Captain America. I forget when that post-credit scene was, but the first Thanos appearance in the MCU. And then the second one, which is more than likely a scene from Loki Season 2, with Victor Timely. Hello. If you don't know who Victor Timely is, do yourself a favor and Google Victor Timely. But he is a psychopath Kang variant.
which I would just say this. Going into this movie, it had to be negative 3,000 odds that we were getting something relating to relating to Loki in one of the credit scenes. I didn't think they would blow up the Council of Kangs load this early, though.
Which I wasn't mad about, because it was the perfect tease of it.
Yeah, and it was brought up a bunch in the film by Kang the Conqueror. So it made sense by then, but I was like, oh, they're actually just doing this now?
Yeah. And I think
because I thought that would have been more left for Loki, but
and I think the 3 Kang big dogs having their conversation took me back to Loki Season 1 in the finale, when there's the 3 statues, and then there's one that's crumbled. And one that's crumbled is Homeboy that we saw in Quantumania.
Yeah, I would just like to say that we were all expecting Scarlet Centurion stuff, and I think it's so weird that of the main notable 3, that's the one that's missing, which I find a little strange. He did pop up
allegedly in the arena. There is a blip of a full red garbed Kang, which you kind of just lead yourself to believe that is the Scarlet Centurion. Yeah. But I mean, the Victor Timely scene is, like you said, we were expecting something with Loki and or Secret Invasion as a post-credit scene. The fact that they went the Victor Timely route, and that's what we're also getting in Loki, is hachi-machi. Let's go.
It was the 2 best post-credit scenes in a long-ass time.
Yeah, we were talking about before we started recording, best world building of the MCU payoff post-credit scenes since everything with Thanos, I think.
Yeah, because all of Phase 4 was just, oh, here's Harry Styles, here's Brett Goldstein. When will I see him? Who the fuck knows?
And I think with Phase 4 too, now that we've gotten Quantumania, I think Quantumania established a lot to tie the bow on Phase 4, since this is the first project of Phase 5. Phase 4 was the introduction of who are going to be big chess pieces for moving forward post blip. Like, we got everything in the, entire Infinity Saga and everything. Then Phase 4 was like, here's going to be the players on the chessboard who you need to pay attention to as we move forward into the multiverse saga. So it was kind of like a less dramatic introduction than what we got for the Iron Mans, the Captain Americas, the Thors, Hulk, because you know those characters. And I think Phase 4 lacks a little bit just because it is so many new characters and a lot of characters that have these cult-ish followings, like a Moon Knight, like a She-Hulk, and stuff like that. But, like, that's kind of what Phase 4 was. It was the embodiment of, here are your new players on the chessboard.
All I'll say to round out this discussion is this: Marvel is lucky DC isn't kicking into gear until 2025. like with how things are going right now in terms of the reception of the films, and you have James Gunn just saying they're going, all right, we're starting this with Superman in 2025. They are lucky that's when this is going to start wrapping up for them, and that there's like not a Superman coming out to start next year, or else they'd be like that Superman movie would, I'm gonna say this now, like 2 years ahead of time, is probably gonna outperform most Phase 4 films, period, end of story.
Yeah.
So it's this is the next like phase and a half is Marvel's put up or shut up time, because if they continue to stumble around in the dark a little here, they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, we'll see. Do we want to give a rating for Quantumania even though it's not on a streaming platform yet?
I'll leave that up to you. If anyone who follows me on Letterboxd can see my thoughts. So
Yeah, we'll put a score on Letterboxd. How about that?
yeah.
For the people. But let us know in the comment section what you thought about Quantumania. We want to hear from you guys. Make sure you're following us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram. Follow Christian on Twitter at @thewiz_PHI. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star review with your movie and show recommendations, your thoughts on The Last of Us, Poker Face, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, or anything else that comes to your mind. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. That's where you get full video episodes of every podcast on our network. That's where you get shorts, clips, interviews, live streams, original video content, all on our YouTube channel. Get us to 400 subscribers by the end of the month. Let's make that happen. Let's make us smile heading into March. And, of course, follow us on Letterboxd. Just search StreamerSZN, and you'll be able to follow along with us on Letterboxd. Make sure you get your merch as well from our great merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Get your StreamerSZN merch. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing here. phiapparel.co. Use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off any and all orders. You can use it whenever on any merch on their website, and that's how they know you're coming from us. But this has been another episode of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. Dylan should be back next week, but for Christian, I'm KB. We're going to go avoid another zombie apocalypse and poke some faces in the quantum realm. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.